Alright, welcome everybody to IS50A, day 4. Today we're going to learn how to do events, programming your own events, and have your own events do cool stuff. Take two. Yeah, after the last one took too long. So, input action, yeah, okay. We'll get to that in a second. So, from the top, if you want to, let's say you want to bind something, like a bind a key. So like I want to bind IJKL to move a bumper around inside of our pinball world, and I want to bind a key like E to drop a new ball in the world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to Edit Project Settings, and under Project Settings Input, this is a very important tab. This is where you can create new key bindings. Okay. Impulse doesn't push you. Make sure that your Impulse doesn't push you, the player. Usually. So, be aware of that. We're going to create a new action mapping called Spawn Ball. And Spawn Ball will be bound to the E key. So I clicked on the little keyboard, then you type E. That's how you bind E to be this new event that I'm creating called Spawn Ball. Axis mapping, this will be called bumper yeet forward. It's my daughter who came up with that, and we will bind that to the T key. It's trademarked, sorry. And then G will be backwards. Now, action mappings are either on or off. Axis mappings range from 0 to 1, and you can also bind them from 0 to -1. So you can see that like WASD, W and S are both bound to move forwards, but W is bound to a scale of 1, S is bound to a scale of -1. And likewise, left and right, D is bound to move right, a scale of 1. It shouldn't be called move right and left, it should just be called move right, I think. And then A is -1. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing we're going to have a bumper moving around the world. T and G is forward and backwards. And we're going to create a new axis mapping, again, by clicking the little plus here. And this will be called bumper eat right. And you will be bound to H, and you will be bound to F, with a scale of -1. Okay, so we've got a new action mapping. Action mappings are either on or off. You press them, you release them. Those both spawn events, and these are analog inputs, you might think. They can range from 0 to 1. Now, if you have a keyboard input, it's either going to be 0 or 1, but you can also bind these things like gamepad things, and so they can give you a value of like 0.3 or something like that. So save all, come back over here, and do we have a spawn point? No? Okay. So I'm going to drag out a target point. So if you go over to your palette over here and search for point, you can find a target point. And this is a way that you can label places in space. So this is the place in space where I'm going to want the new balls to drop in, like that. And I'm going to name this target point to be ball spawn point, like that. And that's how I can find it later. So I'm going to have code that's going to look for this point and then create a new ball there. It's possible to make it up later. It is fine. It is. Just watch the video. Okay, now how do we do something with this code? This is a setup. Let's do stuff with the code. I'm going to go into the third person folder, blueprints. Inside of the content third person folder, blueprints folder, there's something called the BP third person character, and this is kind of your main program for running the character. You can see here we've got events for looking up and down, for turning left and right, moving forwards and backwards, jumping, and touch screen, which we're not using right now. Okay. So I'm going to add a new one, and it's nicely commented too. They actually used comments for once. So I'm going to create a new event here, and I'm going to search for event ball spawn, and even if you type it in wrong because you remember it wrong, it'll find it. And so if you do that, if you searched for input action, you get, you'll find it eventually, but you'll get a lot of stuff that don't really match. So it's always easier to just search for like event jump or something like that. and that'll give you the jump event. So the first thing we do when we do something like this is we make sure that it worked. So we're going to come up here and print a string, and we are going to say ball spawn pressed. Compile, and we're going to snap you to the top tab over here. We hit play. We hit play, and it crashed. Wow. Okay. Good job, UE5. Yeah.
It crashes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it crashed because that would be the third time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, UE5 is brand new, so I don't know what to tell you. Alright, hit play.
Maybe it's just disgusting
There we go.
they're using way too much gold.
And now when I hit E, you can see that it is, in fact, having ball spawn press. There's a reason why I compulsively hit save all, because especially UE5 is not as stable as we'd like it to be. So, yeah. So basically, that's working, or at least the event's working, right? So I don't know if you guys saw that when I hit play. Every time I hit E, it gives us the debug message, and so there we go. We know it works now. A lot of times you will press a key for an event that you think you have bound, and just nothing happens. And then you get to go through the fun process of, okay, Unreal, why is nothing happening? And how do you make this blueprint again? This is the third-person character blueprint. So under Content, Third-Person, Blueprints, BP Third-Person Blueprint, this is like the main program for your game, okay? And so it's pretty common for people to put all their code in there for reasons, which, you know, sometimes will matter much later in your UE4 career or UE5 career. It's not working for you? Okay, screenshot Tim, and we'll take a look at it. You don't have this blueprint. Did you make a third-person template? If you have the first-person one, it'll be in a first-person thing. Input action, spawn ball, print string, pressed. Okay. And where is that? Yeah, it's because you made the ball spawn blueprint. Yeah. Delete the ball spawn blueprint. That was in take one. There's a reason why we put things into here, because we know that it does get events properly. And also when you do networking, code that's on the main character gets replicated across different clients. It's not going to matter for now, but there's reasons why we do it. Okay. If you want to add a comment to your code, you can select your code and hit C to add a comment, and this will be the ball spawn code or whatever. Not very descriptive, I know, but whatever. And one of the nice things about a comment like this is not only does it, comment your code and tell people what it does, but if you were to click and drag on the title, the whole thing comes along. So it makes it easy to kind of reorganize your code. So if you were to do that, the whole thing moves together at once. These are all the blueprints that you have in the blueprints file. No, it's not in the blueprints file. We are in the third-person blueprints. So it's not in your build directory or whatever you call it. It's going to be in the third-person directory blueprints, and then that's your main there. Yeah. Or you just search for BP _ third-person character if you want. Did you drop? Okay. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to spawn a new ball at that location. Okay. So let's see here. right. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to get all actors. I wonder if that'll work. Just do this. Get all actors of class. Target point. And then we're going to do a for each loop. And as always, I'm going quickly at first and then I explain it later. Because I want to make sure that it works right. Before I commit to it too much. File, save, run, nothing. Alright. It's not running at all. I think maybe because target points are... Did it not appear here? What happened to my target point? Did it delete it? Did it crash?
Maybe I got rid of it.
Maybe it didn't save because it crashed. Alright, let's add that out there for the third time, and we will call you spawn point. Save all, play, there we go, okay. So, yeah, the spawn point was in there because Unreal Engine crashed and it didn't save. Okay, so let's just double check that everything works right, then I will explain what is going on here. There we go, ball spawn point. Good, we're finding it. Okay, so here is, and you might notice how I do development, right? At every point along the way, I print, all right, is the event working? Because it won't sometimes, right? Because some other thing might consume the action. And then I said, find everybody in the game world of type target point. So this is going to go through the world and find every target point in the world. Currently we have one. And then anytime you return an array, you're probably going to have a for each loop on it that says for every, so this is going to find all million target points or whatever. This is not the world's most efficient code, by the way, but we have one target point, so it's okay. And we're going to say for each person in that array, we are going to print their name to the screen. And you might notice the first time I did it, nothing happened. That's why I always print the screen before I move on. Print the string to the screen before I move on, because you could write all the rest of the code, and then when nothing happens, then you're like, okay, what? And what happened was, because Unreal Engine crashed, it erased the spawn point out of existence. So, maybe. Or maybe I deleted it by accident. One or the other. I'm going to blame Unreal. Whatever. So, and so now I'm at the point where I know that I am finding the thing properly. And what's that? I deleted the print string because I know that I'm getting there, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make sure that it is display. So what I'm going to do is just make sure that the target point has the name of... Really? Can't compare. Is there a string comparison on that? Equals exactly. ball spawn point. And so what I'm going to do here is for every object in the world that is a target point, I'm going to see if their name is ball spawn point. And if it is, I'm going to be like print string hello, whatever. And so what I'm doing is just making sure, again, my code works. Okay, good. It works. So this is going to find this node here, get all actors of class, searches the entire world for everybody who is a target point. And then it returns a list of all of them. And then I'm saying for each element in that list, again, this isn't the world's most efficient code, but whatever. For every element in that list, if their name, and you can get the name of the thing, that's why naming it in the editor is so important. If their name is ball spawn point, I'm going to line these up. If the name is ball spawn point, then I move on. If it's not, I don't do anything. And one of the nice things about doing it this way is that if I have multiple ball spawn points, then I can either pick one randomly, or I could spawn a ball at all of them, or something like that. Okay. Is that an if? This is an if statement, yes. So a branch is an if statement. So in fact, if you search for if, it will give you branch. Okay. Another way of creating a branch is to hold down the B key and to click. So there's lots of ways of doing the same thing. So now that all this rigmarole is out of the way, I am now at a place where I can spawn a new ball. Line this up. Trying to save some room here, but whatever. Okay, so now I'm going to spawn a new ball. So to create a new actor in the world, it's just called spawn actor. Yep. Like I said, there's terminology in video games. It's not just me. It is called spawning in. And I'm going to create... I'm going to need to actually make a class for this ball thing here. So this ball here, I'm going to need to turn this into a class. Okay, so before I do that, yeah, I know it's not working. Before I do that, any questions about what I'm doing here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new class, a new blueprint class for the ball, and then we're going to spawn a ball at that location. Okay. All right. But we don't have a class for it yet, so we can't actually spawn it because we don't have a class for the pinball.
How to get that?
Get display name? Or this thing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called compares. You drag out.
It's called what?
Type in triple equal sign if you want. And that's equals exactly. The standard double equals doesn't work with it. Okay, so we're just going to pause this for now. And what's the piece with no name? What's the piece with the name? The ball? We don't have a class yet for the pinball, so we need to turn that back into pinball. The node is spawn actor from class. Yeah, so you're going to type spawn actor from class, and then the name up top here isn't always the name that it is. So yeah, always ask a question if you don't know what to search for. Yeah, but it'll be called spawn actor ball in a second. But what you search for is spawn actor from class. And then yeah, it's one of the downsides to teaching Unreal Engine is that the names that appear here aren't always the names you search for. Like for the event, I type in event spawn ball, and it appears as input action spawn ball. Right? But if you search for input action, you get all these things that aren't events. Okay, so let's make the pinball into a class. We've got ball selected here. Click on the little flowchart thing here. And I'm going to save this in the bill folder instead. Okay, so you're going to be called pinball. So I clicked on the gold ball, flowchart, give it a name as pinball, and the place I'm saving it to is to the build directory because, like I said, that's where I put all my stuff. Makes it easy to find. Here's the ball, and we have no code, and we're done. So I clicked on the pinball, converted it into a blueprint class. There's absolutely no code anywhere on it. One thing I might do is like add a lifetime to it, like a maximum lifetime,
What do you mean?
so that it like goes away if it lives for too long. But I'm not going to do it right now. So, do you want to play an editor blueprints? Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So let me hop back. So I basically did nothing. I just converted it into a blueprint, and that's it. Like there's no code anywhere on this. So now I'm going to hop back into the third-person character, and now I can search for pinball, and we will spawn a pinball. Okay. Now, this is how you make projectiles, by the way. So, like, if you want to have a game where you shoot a bullet, and the bullet is actually a projectile that flies out of the world, that is how you do it. Anytime you create an object in the world, that's spawn actor. Okay. So the question is, where does the pinball appear? That's called the spawn transform. Okay. So a spawn transform is the location, the rotation, the scale that the thing's going to appear at. Now this is an orange thing. I actually like to right click on this. Do you guys see this? Right click on where it says spawn transform and split it. Okay. So where it said spawn transform before, if you right click on it and choose split, you can split it into the location, rotation, and scale. I don't care about the rotation. A scale of 1 is fine. What I care about is the location that the ball spawns at. If I run this code right now, it's going to spawn on top of the dinosaur head, right? Because that's world location 0. So how do I get the location of an object? Well, we got this guy here. This is our spawn point, right? So I'm just going to drag out from there and say get location, get actor location, and drag that into there. So this is the all this rigmarole for getting all actors and for eaching, all that stuff is just locating our boy ball spawn point, right? And once we know we're at ball spawn point, this is ball spawn point, we're just going to get its location and then feed that into the spawn transform location. So we're going to spawn the ball on top of the spawn point. Does that make sense? You made an empty ball with the name pinball, but it's not coming up in a class like yours. Did you convert it into a blueprint? Like it needs to be a blueprint. You can't just like name you can't just name something in the editor. You actually have to make a blueprint because spawn actor by class needs a class. Okay. So you made a class called pinball, and then when you search for pinball,
do we press spawn actor none? Or?
Spawn actor none is what it says before you pick a class. Right.
And the class is
Pinball. So you're gonna have to make a pinball class, and how do you make a pinball class? Click on the ball.
Yeah.
Click on the flowchart thing here.
I already did that.
And then save it as a class named pinball. And if you didn't name it pinball, then you're not going to be able to find it either.
Go rename it.
Ball spawner. So you're spawning an actor named ball spawner.
How come we need the name to be exactly pinball?
Well, whatever you named it, that's the name you give it. Right? You don't have to call it exactly pinball, but you have to remember whatever name you gave it up here is the name you have to put in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I named mine ball.
And then we can make ourselves the owner and the instigator. That's for things like if you want to take credit for a kill or something like that, then you put yourself as the. You can put yourself as the owner. And the instigator. You don't have to though. It's not going to matter. Basically, like if you create a grenade using spawn actor, then you can remember.
There is no self on mine.
Yeah, just right click and then choose self, and then it'll pull up. That's if you want to get credit for kills and things like that. In this case, our pinball game doesn't have a kill. It doesn't make any difference. You can not do it at all. It won't make any difference. Yep.
I can't put it on both. How did he get the... Why are you spawning so many balls?
Because it's fun. What kind of question is that, Ada? Why are you spawning so many balls? Because it is fun. No! I died.
Is there an evil plan behind your evilness?
It's just fun, girl. That's all I can tell you. I think I'm going to need a little...
Come on. I just want to play an editor instead. Really?
I'm going to need a little... What happened? Are you crashing, girl?
No, blueprint compile error.
Alright, let me take a look here. I'm going to add a little safety barricade here so the balls can't fly out backwards.
I already did a safety barricade.
Did you? Yeah, you're smarter than me. Alright. Content. Chrome.
What?
Chrome take you.
That's why the game crashed, because you're using way too many flashy metals.
Maybe. I am ray tracing, but... Ah!
And everybody's
It got over
looking at you being all starry-eyed and inspired because he was right.
Some of them are getting out anyway.
All of them are getting out.
Alright, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Yeah, splitting pins are something I do all the time. If I go too fast again, you have to tell me. And you can split any pin that is made of multiple things. You can always split them. It's like the scale here. You can split that, and then you get an X and a Y and a Z. You can see the colors change because they're different type now. So these are just a float, and when you have three floats together, you get a vector, and when you have the three vectors together, you get a transform. When you have a location, rotation, and scale together, that's of type transform. And we could do this, get transform, get actor transform, and that would give us that orange pin if we wanted to do it that way. But I don't trust it. I always like looking at the location, rotation, and scale separately, because if something screws up the scale and sets it to 0 or something, then nothing happens, and you're very confused and sad. Why do I not see anything? There have been so many times when I've had scale set to 0 or scale set to like 100, and then you look up and you realize you're inside of the ball. You know.
What?
I don't know. Let's find out. We're gonna make mega balls, girl. Here we go. We're doing this now. This is happening. So there's our regular ball. Oh damn!
Wait, make it 200. Make it 200. What do you suggest, people?
It's like Thanos, right?
What do you suggest? What do you suggest?
Screenshot the blueprint.
500, 200, make them BBs.
Make them BBS.
0.01.
Oh, BBs.
0.01.
0.1.
0. Make them babies. Looks like you're putting pepper on something. No, make them 0.01. 0.0001. Make it 0.01.
0.001. Alright.
Okay, let's see how this works.
Isn't game development fun, girl, when it doesn't crash?
Yeah.
I can't see anything.
No, you have to get closer.
I don't see anything, girl.
It's invisible.
Yeah, and that...
Make him 500.
Make it 500?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, that's the trouble. Like, sometimes you screw something up and it just...
It turns out horribly. Like,
oh
my god.
What just happened here?
Can't even see it.
Can't even see it, yeah.
You're inside of it.
Yeah, if you remember how I said I like paid somebody like 15 or no, it's like $50 or whatever for some art, like when they sent it to me, the scale was all off, and it was like, I don't remember what it was, but it was something like that. Like it was either so big that I was inside of it, and you're like looking up and you realize you're inside of a giant house, or it was so small that it was like that big. And you just have to, yeah, it's just frustrating when like nothing happens. Okay. So this is your working code. Yeah, let me screenshot the code for you.
Yeah.
Just like this. And then
Add a good actor.
and we'll do this. Post this on here. There you go. Katamari NPC. Alright. Oh, your get display name is empty. You have to compare the name with ball spawn point. If you don't do that, by the way, you could actually just cut out this whole. You could cut this whole branch out entirely if you wanted, because there's only one spawn point in the world, right? So you could actually just do that if you wanted. But at some point, you're going to want to add other target points in your world, and you don't want them spawning balls every time, right? But I don't know, maybe you do, but probably not. It's like if we were to just like make another spawn point, right? Like this. What happened here?
What is there like two spawn points?
Oh, his name is ball spawn point 2. Yeah. I wonder
Is
if.
it your first spawn point?
Wonder if. You can have 2 people named ball spawn point. Let's see if that works. No. It doesn't like that.
What was this supposed to do?
Well, it's supposed to say for everybody, for every target point in the world, it's supposed to spawn a pinball there, but it is not doing so. No, either way. I only want it spawning one anyway, so it's perfect.
How come we're not?
Hmm?
Oh, come on! I have to get rid of get display name.
Well, that's your problem right there.
Go up.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Where are you supposed to put target in the get actor location too?
Hmm?
Never mind.
Target. There you go. So if you have multiple things named ball spawn point, then it spawns balls on top of them. Okay. So it just won't work.
We'd make a third one.
No, you're getting into
We make one.
that's non-standard pinball, girl.
Wait,
Okay.
put one over your head.
All right, so I'm gonna pause here for a short break. I'm gonna leave this up on the screen and just get your code working, and then we're gonna move on to the next part. And we're back after that work time. Next up, we are going to have our other actions implemented. We're going to build a bumper of some sort. So I'll put out a bumper into the world. I'm just going to craft this together. Let's see, what do I want to do? I want to make a little pinball bumper or something like that. Now, like I said, we don't know how to do timelines yet and animations and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of just hack something together. Ada, what material should I use for my bumper? What do you think?
Something that's less flashy.
Something less flashy. Okay. Materials. How about moss?
No.
You don't like moss? Moss is not very flashy, girl. You don't have a moss. Okay. Wood? We got to vote for wood. What do you think? Use concrete?
Wait. Okay, people vote.
People vote on Discord.
What?
Material basic floor. Alright. Technically we can use the...
No,
No?
no,
You don't think so?
no. I said something less flashy.
Okay. Stylized glass material.
Okay,
Walnut. Here, we'll...
I'm taking over.
Here.
Hijacking your computer. Here are your options.
Yeah, let's pause the recording while we vote. Hang on. Where's my mouse? Can you guys hear me? Okay, let's move on.
Derek, here are your options.
There are your options. Glass, rust, wood, or oak. What do you guys feel like?
Sorry about it. No, I'm not hearing any options because of
wood, glass, wood. Alright. What it is. Alright, let's move on.
Oak. It's oak. Wood, oak. Oak, wood.
Alright, moving. Let's turn this bumper into a thing. So let's make sure that everything works right. There we go. Sends it careening off. Right down the goal zone. Alright. This thing needs to be set as movable because this is going to be a bumper. Remember what I said, one of the biggest problems is if you don't have these things set properly, then you get all sorts of weird problems. Movable things, if you want them to generate hit events and things like that, you need to do it. Simulate physics, we're not going to do. We're going to do it ourselves. Gravity is going to be off.
What? Really?
Ignore.
Wait, gravity's going to be on, so that means everything's going to float in the air, right?
What's that?
Everything's going to float in the air if you don't.
It's just for that one object. So yeah, it'll float in the air. That's the idea. All right. And so it also because it doesn't have physics on, I can stand on it. You see how it's hovering above the air. These explosions don't move it. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Okay. But things do collide with it. Alright, that's kind of fun. I'm liking this game already, whatever it is we're making. Alright. Do we turn on hit events? Maybe. Simulation generates hit events. Only matters if you have physics turned on. As of right now, I don't think it's going to matter. So I also don't think that we care when something hits us. Maybe we do. But as for now, sure, why not? Like, turn it on, you know. It's an efficiency thing, so, you know, whatever. It's not a big deal. And then this is set to block all dynamic. Yeah, sure. Okay. So, should be fine. Yep. And then we're going to turn this thing into a blueprint. So so I made a box. It's really kind of goofy looking, right? It's scaled out. Right? I made a box. It doesn't matter. Set it to movable. Set its material. That's it. That's all you have to worry about. Yep. What should your collision preset be for your goalposts? I am using block all. Let's see where collision. Where's collision? Block all. And simulation generates hit events, which I don't think matters. My things are set to stationary. So if they're stationary, they generate a hit event anyway, I think. Okay, so here we got this thing. 2 changes made to it. First is the texture. Second is it's movable. I'm going to give it a name, and his name is going to be Bumper. And I'm going to turn him into a blueprint. So here we go. The folder is going to be Bill. And we're just going to call it Bumper BP, Bumper Blueprint. Okay. And there we go. And so now you can see we have our little bumper thing here set to be a blueprint. like I said, usually when I do this kind of stuff, I usually do most of the events in the player. But just for the sake of argument, let's see if we can get an event here. So event yeet forward.
Copyright.
Copyright.
One day I'm just gonna sue you.
Ada, don't be that person, girl.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I know. Even joking about it, just a lot of Americans are too litigious. Okay, so we'll just print string, and
But still copyright.
forward, and print string right, and we'll see if this works. So play. No, it's not receiving any events. So, let's see if we can figure out why. There's a reason why I do most of this stuff in the player. So we're gonna just Control X out of that, save, and then come over into the third-person blueprint and paste. Okay, and this will be called Control Bumper. So,
Yes, it's working now.
is it working? Now that you put it into the person, or just your computer in general?
In general, in the saving.
Oh, these things are triggering every frame. It's probably gonna have it's probably gonna give us a 0 every time. Play. Yeah. And if I hit forward, I get a 1. If I hit backwards, I get a -1. So this this event here is triggering every frame. And is that what we want? I guess. So let's only pay attention to this if its value is not 0. Okay, if the value is 0, we're just gonna ignore. So we will do a branch. And we're going to compare this value with 0. So axis value, maybe we can set this as an action, but whatever. So axis value, we're going to compare this with nearly equal to 0. Okay. Whenever you do floats, in this case it doesn't matter, but like if you have a little bit of controller drift or something like that, 0.01. You don't want the thing moving when the controller joystick is slightly off 0. And so, why are you in a different blueprint to test if it affects the world? Why do you call it bumper right and bumper forward when they can go both ways? So a negative forward is backwards. Right? That's why I don't like their terminology of forwards backwards, because forwards is positive, and if you have a negative forwards value, it's backwards. Right? How did I group it? I selected them and I hit C. C adds a comment, and then you can drag the thing around that way. It makes organizing your code a lot nicer. How did they get this cool thing? Their comments look way cooler than mine. How is that? How is that possible? Okay. So basically, yeah, we want to deal with Joy-Con drift, right? And so if the thing is near 0, we do nothing. But if it is not 0, then we are going to move the bumper forward. So we are going to get all actors of class. So we're going to find all bumpers in the world. Okay, and in this case, we actually want to move all the bumpers, because I kind of have this vision in my head of like when you hit like a key, all the bumper, it's pinball, right? You hit a bumper and all the bumpers move at the same time, at least on one side. Right, when you hit the left button on pinball, all the left paddles or whatever they're called move, and then when you hit the right one, all the right ones move. So we kind of, yeah. So what we want is when we press forward, we want all the bumpers in the world to move forward. And so in this case, we're actually going to be a little bit simpler than this one. We're not going to try to do it once. We're going to do it for every bumper in the world. Okay. And since we have a array, we are going to do a for each loop, right? So that's, arrays and for each loops go together. Another thing you can do with an array is you can get individual elements out of an array. So if you know the third bumper is the one that you want to move, you could do it like that. But typically, whenever you have an array like that, you are going to do a for each. Okay. And so we're going to say for every bumper in the world, we are going to move it. Okay. You guys understand what's going on here so far? The user is going to hit our forwards or backwards, or maybe they have a Joy-Con. Maybe if we have a number a gamepad or something like that, the right stick might be moving the bumpers, and the left stick might be moving the camera. I don't know, something like that. You understand? You need time to replicate it. Yeah, that's why I'm talking right now. By the way, is after I do stuff, I will pontificate for a little bit, so that you guys have a chance to copy it. So what we're going to do is when we press forwards or backwards, we want all the bumpers in the world to move forwards or backwards. And it's a question of like what happens when it hits something solid, right? Should it go through it? Should it stop? But if it stops, then if you have bumpers like this and one gets blocked and the other doesn't, maybe you can move them up next to each other, which may be a strategy. I don't know. Not sure what to put in there. That is a bumper. So remember, just like what we did with the ball, we just made a stupid little blueprint class. It doesn't have any code in it. I just made this little rectangular prism here and converted it using the little flowchart thing here into a blueprint called Bumper Blueprint. And there's no code anywhere within it. Look at the viewport. Construction script's empty, event graph's empty. The reason why I do that is so that you got a name for it, right? So if you want to spawn a new bumper, or if you want to move all bumpers, you can locate it by name. You know what I mean? So, why is it coming out of false and not true? Because because we're comparing the value on the joystick with 0. If it's 0, we don't want to move anything, right? So if the value is not 0, we're going to move the bumper. Do we want the bumpers to just rotate? We could. I was actually thinking we could actually just slide them around the world and use them to like shove, things into the end zone. It's kind of what I was thinking. We could have them rotate. Maybe we could bind some keys to do rotation too. But like I was saying, like we, in order to do like the actual like, kind of pinball thing, we'll need to know how to do timelines, and we're not going to get to that till next week. So there's no slip on the floor to get them back to the flippers. I don't know. It's just ideas I have. I also take requests from the audience, so to speak, every semester. Like I wasn't planning on doing pinball, but you guys kind of suggested it, and it's kind of fun. Okay. All right, so we've found all bumpers in the world, and maybe we can have multiple bumpers. You know, like that's kind of the direction I was going with this. Like, you know, maybe you got like a couple of these things, right? And they all move together when you move it, and you're trying to get the balls into the end zone. Okay. Bumper BP is empty. Pinball is empty. Okay, so what we're going to do is we want to simply move the thing. So for every bumper in the world, we want to move it. So we want to world, add world offset. That's what I was thinking of here. And so it is going to move the bumper. How far should we move it if we press forwards? Ada, what do you think? How far should we move it if we press forwards?
500 feet. I'm just kidding.
500 feet?
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know these feet you're talking about. We're in metric, girl.
Centimeters?
The bumpers have to be static. If the bumpers are static, we can't move them. They have to be set as movable, but just physics disabled. What'd you say, girl? Every tick? 20 centimeters?
Yeah. Of course you do.
All right, no. Let's try this for now, at least. All right. It's 20 in the X direction, but and we're not handling backwards. We'll just see if it works. Yeah, there we go. And if I press backwards, they go forward. Yeah. There you go. All right. Well, I call this a great success. All right. I must go. My people need me. Okay. These guys are stuck under the world a little bit. Yeah.
No, make them float like high.
No, they don't.
Fine.
Okay. So that's working. Okay. And it happens that we're actually right aligned along the x-axis. I was actually about to have to get into like some linear algebra with you guys, but as it turns out, we just happen to make my world, at least, I don't know about your world, but my world is aligned along the x-axis. So add actor world offset. I think add actor world offset is maybe what you're looking for. Or static mesh components, one you're looking for. So the bottom one, there's Sims. Okay, so yeah, all right. So now we need to be able to handle backwards too, right? So if the axis value is a negative, or we can actually just make a variable called bumper speed. Here would be a float. So we're going to take the axis value and multiply it by bumper speed. And you have to compile and save, and then bumper speed's default value you can set over here. I'm going to set it to 20, since that seems to be working pretty well. And then that is the split this, and I'm going to toss you right into X there. Okay, so axis value will be either a value of 1 or 0 or -1. If it's 1, we move it forward 20. If it's -1, we move it -20. Because -1 times 20 is -20. And so that is the offset we're going to add to the X direction here. Let me just make sure it works, then I'll let you guys stare in admiration at my... Good. Good. So we have these bumpers, and they move forwards.
How about you, like, you spawn some balls?
Nope, nope, nope. Yeah.
How about you spawn some more balls?
More balls? Alright. This game's hard. Okay. I mean, this is actually already kind of a fun game. Maybe just forwards and backwards is all we really want. Because if you do left or right, it's a little too much control, maybe.
Left or right.
You want left or right, too? Yeah. Okay. All right, so let me explain what is going on here. So the user types in whatever keys you bind to move the thing forwards, move the thing backwards. If it's 0, we do absolutely nothing. If it's -1 or +1, then we get all bumpers in the world. For each bumper in the world, we add to its offset, its world offset, which means we're moving it, basically. And how much do we move it? Well, I'm moving it in the X direction. Your mileage may vary if you didn't happen to accidentally align your world in the X direction like I did. You'll have to play with these values, right? But as it turns out for me, my world is exactly aligned along the x-axis, so I can just add to their x value, and then they slide in that direction. Now, if they hit backwards, then axis value here becomes -1. And so I take the speed, 20, multiply it by -1, and then it subtracts the location. That's why we do axis events rather than the input action events like this, because if you did this, you would have to copy and paste the code twice. Or I mean, you could probably combine the blueprint, but you know, the basic idea is that by doing this, you only have to write the code once, right? And if you have a joystick that does values between 0 and 1, then the bumpers will move faster or slower based on that. Okay. How do we get that Xbox? What Xbox? You get the target variable to show up. What target variable? The multiply. So you drag it out and type Shift 8, multiply. Star. Yeah. Connected to speed. Yeah. So drag out from the speed. Now, if you just typed it on its own, then you're gonna get lots of things that maybe you don't want. But when you drag out from here and you type, I wonder if X works. XS. Star. When you type star, then it shows you only the functions that work with axis value as an input. And again, I created a variable called bumper speed, set it to type float, which is like this mint green color. And so this value comes out from -1 to +1. I multiply it by bumper speed, which is defaulting to 20. And again, this is every tick, so this is not good coding. The higher the frame rate, the faster the bumpers will move. You can't get the static mesh world offset box. Okay, so dragging out from here. Katie, are you doing that? So drag out from the blue. That's, in general, good advice for the for doing Unreal development. If you drag out from the white, it'll give you a list of every single possible, thing that you can do in blueprints, like all of them. And it's really hard because a lot of them have the same, like, you search for it, like world, and then you end up getting like just like, what the hell, That's the slow way of doing coding in blueprints. Don't drag out from the white, drag out from the blue. If you drag out from the blue and you say world offset, yeah, that's the one. It picks it, and if you don't, you're going to get like weird errors and things like that because there's a lot of different add world offsets. And you're like, oh, I'll try that one, and I don't know, like. A lot of times they're just incompatible. So the pro tip, like you saw over here, is to drag out of the colored pins, and then it will filter all of the options. This is really nice. It's one of the reasons why I actually prefer coding in blueprints over C++, because in C++ there's 500 different functions, right? In blueprints, if you drag out from a colored pin, it filters them because it's context sensitive. It filters them. Like if I hit plus, it only does the floating point add. Whereas if I search for add here, there's a lot of ads. There's a lot of ads. There's a lot of ads. And so if you just search for, like, if you drag out from the white pin and search for add, there's just, which one do I want, right? I don't know. But if you drag out from a colored pen, then there you go. There's the right one. Okay. Your box doesn't move, and the code is set up the same as his. Okay. Did you, before you turn this guy into a blueprint, did you set him to be movable? Okay. And you turn him into a blueprint. You call it the blueprint bumper, BP, or whatever, right? All right. Then over here, you're getting all actors of class bumper BP. And then you have a for each loop that is grabbing every bumper in the world. And then I would just start off by just printing like hello, right? And just seeing if it works, seeing if it's finding the people. Because if you type the name here wrong or whatever, it won't find anybody. Nothing will happen. Yep. And make sure bumper speed is set. Yeah, but you see how I did it iteratively? Like if you just try copying the final product, then if you make a mistake, like it's hard to figure out why. Right. That's why at every step along the way, I just like you'll see me. I just toss a number in there. Like I'll just toss. I don't know. I'll toss a value of like 20 in here or something. Right. I'll just try it like that. Like let's give it a shot. Yeah. See what happens. And then once I get that working and I know that it works and I know that they're moving, then I add complexity on top of it. So. Let's see what we got here. Katie Cromwell, your white line is not hooked up here. That needs to be connected. And your speed needs to be set, maybe? I don't know if it is or not. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the same process again, this time for left and right. So I'm going to do yeet right. And if you give it a funny name like that, it's actually easier to find, right? Like so. It's actually yeah, okay. Basically, we can do pretty much the same code here. So I'm just going to copy and paste this. Control C, Control V. I wonder if Control W still works. Control W, no, it doesn't work. Oh, it's Control D for duplicate now. Weird. Okay.
All right. Or Control C and then Control V.
Yeah, but Control W was duplicate in UE4, and now it's Control D. It's interesting. Let me change that. Like I said, in this semester, this is the first time I've used UE5. And so there will be times when I'm like, where did that go? What's different? Why did that change?
How many years have you been using UE4?
UE4 for a while. Like, like 7 years or so. Like
really?
Yeah.
Because I only remember you having it for like 3 years.
Well, I was teaching it. I think the first time I taught it was 2016, so it would have had to have been at least 7 years at this point. Yeah.
Okay, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, that's a good question. All right. Okay, and so for left and right, rather than moving it in the X direction, we are going to move it in the Y direction. And let's see if that works. It might be backwards, right? The axis might be, the wrong way. Who knows? Okay. So we got T and G. Then we got H and F, and nothing is happening. Aha. Nothing's happening. All right, well. Okay. Let's do a little debugging. Print string. Let's just see if it's getting there, right? Nope, it's not getting there. All right. Okay. This is why it's so useful to do debugging that way. And you can set a breakpoint also if you want. So breakpoint. Save. Run. I'll explain what that is in a second. Nope, it is not getting there either. All right. Let's check my project settings. Snap it up here. Project settings, input, H and F are my keys. Okay. That seems to be set properly. Oh, well, that's why these aren't hooked up.
Too much explaining.
Too much explain? No, what do you mean, too much explaining?
You've been explaining by disconnecting all the green things and typing in new things and then just...
Well, when I copied and pasted it, I didn't hook this wire up. That's what happened. And so the axis value wasn't, it was just comparing 0, 0 all the time. Okay, so now if we do this, everything should work. And let me show you how a breakpoint works. So a breakpoint, the game's running, and I hit it, and it stops. It pauses the world. In fact, you can flip back over here, and you can see I'm still in the game world's still running, but it's paused. And you can set a breakpoint on something by right-clicking and choosing Add Breakpoint. F9 toggles the breakpoint, so the breakpoint turns on or off. You see there's a little stop sign there. And so it pauses at that moment in time. And then you can mouse over all of these things here and see what their values are. So what is the value of the x-axis? It's 1 right now. Okay. How many actors did we find? There are... So we're on actor 0 right now. Okay. And then so on and so forth. So you can mouse over each of these values. The computed value here is 0, And so it's really nice. Rather than having to print things to the screen, when you do a breakpoint, you can actually sit there and mouse over each, value, and it'll tell you what the value is, so that you don't have to print them all out. All right, it's nice. Okay, resume play, and there we go. So
Nothing's working.
it's still not working. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So left and right, forwards and backwards.
It's foosball now.
Spawns balls. Yeah, it's foosball. It's exactly what it is. Boop, boop. It's foosball with exploding barrels and tunnels, right? Like, you got the bumper over there. It's like kicking the thing up. Get in there. Aha, points. Oh, uh-oh.
One just literally eat it over there.
Yeeted itself out of existence, yeah. Alright. Put some more quarters in. Alright, get in there.
There aren't any quarters. They're full balls. There's 4 quarters, not just 1 quarter.
Okay. 14 points. I win. Alright. So, you guys understand? Debug breakpoints are very, very important. Print screen is useful, like, for did I get here? And you saw how quickly I identified that, right? Like, I started at the end, like, okay, it didn't get there. Okay, it didn't get there. Oh, yeah, there's the problem. All right, that little wire there was missing. So, you can set breakpoints to do the same thing. And especially if you need to just look at a lot of values, like, all these different values here, or if you have a hit result that has like 15 different things coming out of it, you typically use a breakpoint. Print screen is just useful for like, just quick debugging like that. This is insane. In a good way or a bad way? Like compared to GDB? Yeah. But it's all visual, and that's nice too. In GDB, you have to like print X. And if you want, you can have like a screen that has like the variables you're monitoring on it. But, you just sit there and just mouse over things. It just tells you them. Like, I actually really like doing development in Unreal, despite the fact it crashes sometimes. Insane in definitely a good way. Okay, cool. So here we have, kind of a working foosball / pinball kind of game. So I'm going to shift gears now. And your bumpers still don't work. None of your code does anything. Okay, both of you guys need to post your screenshots. We need to see what's going on. For today's homework assignment, use bumpers plus ball spawn to fling at least one ball far into the air. I don't know, like, I mean, it seems kind of easy, right? Like, like, I mean, it's, it is kind of fun, actually. Like, that's actually a good sign, right? Like, if you're actually amused while you're playing your game, like that's a good sign, right? Like if you're like, oh, this is actually kind of fun, you know, it's always a good sign, you know.
Unless nobody else likes it.
Our homework should just be to improve the pinball machine. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys have ideas for the homework, keep them coming. I think launching it into the air is kind of a given at this point. All right, let's take a look. Code's not working. We're gonna switch gears in a second, but we'll just take a look here. Forward. So, yeah, your code, your nearly equal is wrong. That should be a 0 there. Yeah, try fixing that first. And for your forward, it should be X and not Y. Well, actually, I don't know how your map is. But you need to get into that habit like I showed you. Like, do print strings to print the strings to the screen. Or hit F9 and breakpoint. And find out if the things are actually happening. Yeah. And we got here 0. That's hooked up. Alright. Speed. Let's see here. Looks pretty good to me. Check to see if speed is set, I guess. This one's multiplying speed times 0. That's a problem right there. Right? So, if you multiply anything by 0, you're going to get 0, right? So, seems like a problem. Ada, did you know that? If you multiply anything by 0, you get 0? Good. Good girl. Paying attention.
What?
Good. You're paying attention in school. It's good.
Okay.
Okay, so like I said, we're gonna do a little shift in gears right now, and I'm gonna teach you guys how to make a landscape.
And how come there's only one basket?
How come there's only one basket?
Yeah, you need a copy and paste.
Because I'm thinking about what I want to do with that thing there, and I kind of want that to be like the negative point basket. So like because you can spawn as many balls as you want, you just get as much score as you want, right? But like if you do that and you lose control of the balls, a lot of them are going to start going out this way. And so what I kind of want to do is have zones underneath here, right? So like we got this bumper down here that saves some of them, but not all of them, right? So what I was thinking was putting a trigger zone down here so that it subtracts the score. Subtracting a score here, here, and so sure, you can spawn as many balls as you want, but if you're not careful, a lot of them are going to go into the holes and cost you points, right? So I'm kind of right now planning on adding like a 60-second time limit and a global scoreboard kind of thing where there's a global point total. And that's why I kind of haven't done anything with that yet, because I haven't taught them yet how you can have different blueprints share variables, because that's a whole lecture. And so we're going to put that off till Monday maybe. Excellent, Katie. Excellent. Can you go over how to make holes in the ground? Yeah. I'll review that real fast. So,
Go to geometry, pick a shape.
Okay, geometry, pick a shape.
Put into the ground, select negative intersection.
Select subtractive.
Subtractive. And then there you go, you've got a hole.
And if you, you can, that's actually an interesting idea. Like not punching it all the way through, just like punching it slightly through. It's like it's kind of a...
I'm worried the game will crash.
It's not going to crash. Why are you so pessimistic? Real Engine doesn't crash. Come on. So, there you go.
I thought you just...
So, like, maybe... See how it's bigger than my step height? See how it's bigger than the step height? So, like, maybe adding, like, little bits of terrain like that or whatever would be kind of cool. So basically, Katie, to summarize, you make a box or cube or anything you want, and that's additive.
Make sure it's underneath geometry.
Yeah, under the geometry tab, right? Not under the basic shapes. Yeah, geometry is the constructive solid geometry, and so additive geometry adds geometry to the scene. Subtractive geometry subtracts geometry from the scene, and if it's subtractive, you can cut holes in things and stuff like that. And so by using these two things, you can kind of make fairly you do fairly primitive shapes, and you know, it's not going to win any award. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Yeah, look at that! Yeah. Okay, sorry, I'm amused. You're not going to win any like medals for like, you know, map design or whatever.
It looks like a keyhole.
But it's
actually, I think you can.
Yeah, lock and key.
I mean, it would be cool.
The lock and key.
You should make a key hole.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit off topic.
A little bit off topic. Very tiny bit.
Whatever.
Off topic.
Okay. So next, I'm going to show you guys how to do landscapes. So, not shapes, geometry. Yeah, exactly. So under geometry, these things do the constructive solid geometry stuff. And so what I did for this thing here was I flipped a cone upside down, had one as additive, had one as subtractive, and you can set that brush type right here, subtractive. So brush type additive adds geometry, brush type subtractive subtracts geometry. So a bigger cone and a smaller cone, cutting it out, it creates that little cup effect.
And you choked it with gold.
And I filled it with gold, and you can do things like change the number of...
and I'm just going to tell you that each of those little panels, you can do an individual color, so I'm just going to tell you that.
And you can do things like change how many triangles go into it and stuff like that. Anyway. Okay, so let's learn about landscapes. I am going to
do something.
Make the world a little bit more open. Third person template.
Is open.
Delete you. I'm going to leave the dinosaur where he is. There you go, dinosaur. All right. My goofy little houses or whatever. It's not even lined up right. It's so embarrassing. This won't be on YouTube or anything, right? Anyway, so we're gonna do landscaping. All right. And so landscaping can be found under the landscape mode. So I'm going to leave this up for a few seconds so you guys can all see what I see, which is under select mode, top left corner of the screen, or hitting Shift 2 as the shortcut will switch you into landscape mode. Yep.
Usually, it's usually...
The floor has to be geometry. The floor doesn't have to be geometry. If you want to do CSG, if you want to do this, it has to be geometry. Yeah, it does. But if you just want a floor like this, like it doesn't have to be. You know? All right. So when you switch into landscape mode, you'll see it. You get this cool like neon grid kind of thing, and it's actually right now it looks like it's actually going to generate the landscape above our world, which is going to look really bad. So you see, was your idea, girl?
Just say that a geological event happened.
Yeah, it's a geological event. We went hiking up to Table Mountain, and there's this sheet of rock on the top of the mountain that's like split off. And the geologist who was giving the hike, he says, this is a geological event waiting to happen.
I'm actually thinking about how like that waterfall was like spilling onto the sand.
Yeah.
You know, in Big Sur.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That one's cool.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move the origin of this, and this is where our landscape is going to be. And I'll just leave it on the defaults for now. You can make much bigger landscapes and stuff like that if you want. But it can also be kind of a pain to deal with giant landscapes because you have to... it can also slow down your frame rate. So what I did was I went into landscape mode, and when you do that, there's no landscape right now. And so it's going to generate a landscape in your map. And can you break to fix the holes? What do you mean fix the holes?
Just delete the geometry hole shape.
Yeah, if you don't like the holes, you can just delete them.
No, not the keyhole.
Are you wanting that?
No, I'm just kidding.
There you go. Yeah. So going back, Shift 2. You also can't select geometry when you're in landscape mode. Landscape mode only messes with landscape. You have to hit Shift 1 and go back into select mode to actually select things. Well, it's
That's sad.
it's a different mode. It's a different mode of being.
So sad.
So basically, this little arrow here controls kind of where your landscape's going to be. Where's the origin of your landscape? And if it's floating up in the air like mine was, that's a problem. It'll cover up your world. So I'm putting it down there. I'm going to set the material to be grass. Material to be grass. Yep. Did you guys all see that? Material to be grass. Grass is a good default material for landscapes.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh, no, this is bad.
There's lots and lots of options for doing landscapes. Like I said, just leave it at the defaults for now. Let's see, world partition, grid size. Okay. Oh, enable edit layers. You definitely want on. Okay. So step 1, landscape mode. Step 2, turn on enable edit layers. Step 3, make it grass. Step 4, move the origin of the landscape so that it's not going to blanket your world in lava. Step 5, create. And now you have landscape.
Do I have to do it because I already have a landscape?
If you already have a landscape,
No,
you do
I
not.
don't already have a landscape. I just don't know how to put like my original.
Ooh, that's a problem. There's no hole anymore. Well, I can fix it. Okay. There. All right. I just carved out the landscape beneath it. I'll show you guys how to do that in a second. Okay. This is just grass, right? And it's not a bad texture, right? Or material technically. If you zoom in on it, like it's got different levels of variation. If you zoom out, you can see there's no like blatantly obvious repeating patterns and things like that. It's not the world's best texture, but like at least it doesn't look like a single picture repeating over and over again. You know what I mean? So, make a pinball fall down a landscape mountain. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of actually. So when you do this, it puts you into the sculpting mode by default. After this, when you come back into landscape mode, a lot of times it's in some other mode like manage or something like that. But sculpt allows you to make mountains. Hey, click and drag. Click and drag. You can make a mountain. And these mountains are just hold down, click, and move the mouse around, and you can make a mountain. And if you just click a little bit, do a little. Oops, I one undo too far. Now you can change the brush size, so you make the mountains bigger that you're working with. Like that. You can make it smaller for finer detail work, like that. The fall off affects the, you can see the wider areas of the brush get more, and the lighter areas of the brush do less. You can kind of adjust the fall off, or it doesn't tell you very much. Here, let me put a fall off to 0 and show you what that looks like. It's just a perfectly flat, straight. Yeah.
Oh wait, how do you put it down? How do you put it down?
You just end up with a perfectly sharp edge, right? Whereas a high fall off gives you a soft edge.
I still like Unreal Engine 4 better.
Okay, then do it. Then do it.
It's like much easier. Like all the modes are just like displayed up here.
That is true.
And like, oh,
Yeah, the modes are now here.
nice. That looks nice. I think you just need some clouds to like surround like the little peaks.
Yeah, put some clouds in there, sure.
That would look nice.
So yeah, just carve up a little bit of mountains here, and maybe integrate the landscape with your pinball game.
How do you
That'll
put
be
it down though?
that'll be your thing. So how do you move it down? Great question from the daughter contingent.
No, I mean
Hold
like,
down Shift. Well, it's a good question. Just hold down Shift.
That's not my question.
Well, let's pretend it is. If you hold down Shift, then it lowers the landscape. So clicking and dragging raises the landscape. Holding down Shift lowers the landscape.
Or you can press your road, but that's like the boring. That's like the boring.
Okay.
And,
And
like, it's so much of a pain.
And there's lots of other tools here. You can hydro it, which simulates rainfall on it, and it'll start melting the mountains, kind of like the older mountains kind of get softer and rounder, like in Guilin. Noise adds randomness to your terrain, so you can see that.
Noise has adds like peaks and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's
If you
very
try
weak
hard
right
enough.
now. Tool strength 1. So let's try this. Fall off of reset here. Okay. So here's noise.
That's like canyons and stuff.
Yeah, it adds random bumps and mountains. It's a good way of adding detail. Typically, you want
My real question.
Your real question, okay?
Was how in the world do you like put down landscaping?
Landscape, and then turn on enable edit layers, turn on grass material, move the origin to where it won't cover up your world.
So, wait. So material is gonna be grass?
Grass is a good default material for landscapes.
Let's see.
And so, if you do it right with noise, you can actually make kind of interesting landscapes.
Remember Hedgehog World?
Whoop! Too much.
Remember Hedgehog World?
I remember Hedgehog World, girl.
Yes, very much. Chucky.
Add a little.
It's supposed to be a big world, as big as Skyrim and stuff. Okay, this is not working. I'm trying to add materials, but that is not working apparently.
And then you can see over here, my beautiful cup has been covered up. So I'm just gonna suck the world out from under it like that.
I put fog in mine.
And I'm gonna hold down Shift and click here, and you can see that these things now are far enough down, and that probably should drop down too. So if I play the game now, there's enough room for the balls to fall into the hole and drop out of the world.
I don't know how to like just sit it down. Just like sit it down. Where are you? What?
I'm underneath the. You can see the balls are now falling under here, and if I were very clever, I could probably. Maybe I am clever. Look at this. Like all the balls are kind of rolling down.
Maybe you are clever.
Maybe I am clever. Maybe I did this all deliberately.
Maybe. Just maybe.
It's just all by
Just
accident.
maybe it's your evil plan.
All by accident, right?
It
So.
was all on purpose.
Yeah.
Always.
So all the balls are going to roll down to one spot down there. If you get the gray checker texture for snow, it's probably compiling your shaders still. So the gray texture is what it shows before, not this, but like the black and white squares, is when it's still trying to figure out what's going on.
In Real Engine 4, sometimes when it's like momentarily crashing just for like a moment, everything becomes like blocks and stuff.
Yeah, like when the level's loading,
It's
sometimes like
Minecraft.
all the landscape looks like Minecraft
Yeah.
landscaping and stuff like that. Let's see here.
Except that it doesn't have
Flatten.
as bad like
So you can turn things into plateaus and stuff like that.
plateau.
Yeah, it's useful if you're building like a city up here or something like that. You can flatten it. Erosion. So you melt the things away using the powers
You've
of
got
erosion.
10 minutes left. Can you show them like the world I wanted to build myself? Like the one the underwater one.
Underwater world?
The underwater world I made myself
Which one?
in UE4.
Not today. We only got 10 minutes left.
Exactly.
Yeah. We got some more stuff to do with landscapes.
Choose wisely.
Okay, so just kind of, I added some noise, I'm adding some erosion, adding some hydro to it, and when you do the sculpting tool, you end up getting these mountains that look like just kind of tofu. Like you just end up with like these giant bulbous, like they don't look very
Realistic.
realistic, right? And that one actually,
It looks like a bowl. It's like a bowler hat.
and so adding noise, adding erosion is kind of a, this one's not too bad. Like you got kind of a sharper line along the ridge there, which is kind of realistic looking.
Actually, no. In Woodward Park, you have like tall hills. That's natural. You need to like smooth it out a bit.
Yeah, so it's not looking too bad right now. Actually, it's actually not looking too bad.
Pinball stadium.
We got a pinball stadium, yeah. So for your homework, your goal is to integrate landscape with an interactive pinball experience, basically. Look at that. The ray tracing is actually picking up the tool. You see that? Look, the light from the tool is actually reflecting off the walls. It's kind of cool. I like that.
That's weird. Just
did we land on a homework assignment?
What?
Okay. For people who enclose their pinball, how are you supposed to make it interact with the landscape?
I don't get it.
And how do we make one? I was trying to make holes. Would it be possible to select everything in your world and scale it down? I don't know. You can just open up your world a little bit. Maybe you could build like a big mountain, like instead of a ramp like this, switch. Oh yeah, and if you want to mess with this stuff, switch back into select mode, and you can delete things like that.
No.
Switch back into landscape mode, sculpt, turn the brush size down. Maybe, just maybe I could add a ramp.
Oh no. Oh no.
Like this.
No.
What do you think? What do you think, girl? What do you think? You don't like that? Add a ramp. Boom! There it is.
Oh my gosh.
Alright. It looks very realistic. Alright.
Yeah.
So now we've got a landscape ramp. Alright.
Very realistic indeed.
And so there is something called a ramp tool. And what's neat is that it stays in the world, so you can actually kind of adjust it as often as you want. And when you put the ramp, when you do the ramp tool and click, it actually gives you a starting point and an ending point, and so you can kind of like mess around with this stuff here. Oops. Nope. Why am I not able to select you? Oops. Oops. Why are you not moving up?
Because you're not selecting the right thing. Get that. It's right there. It's right there.
It's only doing the 3-axis movement. It's weird. No, okay, I got it. It's not working when it's below the world. It's kind of weird. Okay. So.
Because if it's
we'll
below the
ramp.
world, there's nowhere to go up.
We'll ramp go over to here. And then we can select that guy. And.
That guy.
Yeah, like the arrows are not selectable. It's weird.
Well,
see that? Like if I
totally
mouse, see that? If I mouse over the red one, it's not, and it does 3-axis. It does 3-axis movement instead.
I mean, in case like someone wants to make a specific position, that's like good.
Yeah, but it's weird because it doesn't, like the landscape hides it. You know what I mean? Like if it sticks out, it works. You see that? But like if it's below the landscape, or if it's below that icon, like I can't actually select.
I mean, if it's below the landscape, then there's no way to sculpt because it's below the landscape.
Yeah, but like I want to move it out from I want to move it out from below the landscape, and it's kind of weird. Okay, so we do that. Is that too steep a ramp, or do you like that, girl? What do you think?
Let me make it steeper.
No. We only got a few minutes left. All right, so.
But without a few minutes, I'm going to show them my old world.
And no, that'll be next week. Okay, so there we got a ramp.
I'm not going to be there for next week.
Oh, I missed.
Got 5 minutes.
Okay, so we're not spawning on top of the ramp anymore, so not you. Switch into select mode, move you over there, and the spawn point. See, this is what's nice. Like, rather than hard coding a location, we just move the spawn point around, and now the spawn is back there a ways. And we can control the
That's weird.
What's weird?
Everything.
Weird.
Everything.
Ah!
Yeah. Yeah. How could? Yeah. Like, why are you running over yourself on purpose? That's messed up.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so that's the ramp tool in landscape mode, and maybe that'll be your homework assignment. Add a ramp. Have your pinball arena interact with the landscape. Open world pinball. Yeah, exactly. I need you to immediately post lecture day. Yeah, that's fine. It takes a while to upload a 3-hour-long video. Okay. Your world is too large to navigate. You're stuck with no... Did you click on the generate, Montoya? So when you go into landscape mode, scroll down, there will be a button called create. You click on that, and that makes the landscape. And yeah, you can move the player's spawn point as well.
So what is our homework?
Nope. Move the player's spawn point forward. Here. There. So I don't have to run quite so far every time. Alright, so your homework is going to be, making interactive pinball and open world pinball. How about that? Huh?
I don't even have my pinball ready yet.
You don't have your pinball ready?
Yeah, because I don't know how to do it.
How do you edit the material type? You click on, there's a box where it says material, basically, and then you click on that and type in grass or whatever.
And I don't know how to do landscapes.
I'll work with you when class is over. Alright, so there's one other thing I want to show you today, and that is foliage. So if you switch into foliage mode, shift 3, then you can spray paint flowers and stuff like that in the world as well. So right here, you can see there is an option for adding foliage, and we have no foliage assets right now. So maybe we'll do that on Monday then. So we'll have to import some foliage into the world. Technically, you can use anything as foliage if you just try hard enough. For example,
ooh, fire.
For example, bushes
Fire.
can be used as foliage.
Fire.
There we go.
Fire.
And then it's going to create foliage asset out of that.
Fire.
And then you can spray paint bushes
Oh my gosh.
on the world. Yay.
I mean, that'd be good for like a desert or something.
Okay. So what I did was step 1, select the foliage tool. Step 2, I went over to the props folder and dragged the bush over this spot right here, which is kind of weird and not showing anything. Let's make some room here. Yeah, so I dragged the bush over to here, and then you can just spray paint bushes onto the world.
Can you use fire?
Fire?
Yeah.
No.
No.
It's a particle effect. It's not a.
No.
It's not a mesh.
No.
But you can do it with any object. For example, if you.
Lamps.
If you like lamps, sure, why not? Ceiling lamps, why not? And then you can spray paint and.
Not really. They don't like lamps.
What do you mean they don't like lamps? There's lamps all over the place.
Not really. Nothing's happening.
Nothing's happening?
Nothing's happening.
See?
Oh my gosh.
You just spray paints lamps
It's
everywhere.
merged in the. That's because it's a wall lamp. That's because it's a wall lamp. It's not
Yeah.
a lamp.
There. Lamps are a bad choice for foliage. Okay. Undo.
What up? Glass.
Yeah. Statues, rocks, chairs. You can make a chair into a foliage if you want.
Oh my gosh.
You just spray paint chairs everywhere.
Well, if you want to make it look like something bad happened, then sure, yeah. Go with the chairs. The chairs
It's like Borderlands.
No, the chairs just makes it look like a murder scene or something.
The homework is to have the landscape interact with the pinball arena. That is correct. You can also write on top of the flippers. Oh, cool.
You also write on top of the flippers.
Yeah. Or you could probably add an up and down also to the flippers and go on a magic carpet ride or something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I can show you the... How do you make the floor no longer geometric? No longer geometric? Like this floor? You'd have to delete it. If you want to use a static mesh floor and a geometric floor are two very different things. But if you just like want to take out the holes or whatever, the holes are actually still there. And so you can actually just delete them and delete the hole out of existence. Because there's additive and subtractive geometric brushes. And you can mess them after the fact. When you do a subtractive brush, it doesn't actually like delete it permanently. The brush is actually still there. So I just made it a more circular hole in the ground. So instead of an obvious cylinder, it kind of looks a little better now. There's 32 sides. You can still see there's like some sharp edges, but it's a lot more chill now.
That one's on purpose.
This one is a sphere. Yeah.
No, don't do anything to it.
You like that one? Okay.
No. It's supposed to be because you see how it caves down to it.
Yeah. That's fair.
That's what purpose.
Okay. All right. So yeah, geometry. Maybe make some curved surfaces for the balls to roll down. End zone scoring.
I have a question.
What is your question?
Can we make materials spray foliage?
Can you make materials spray foliage? Oh, that's a later lecture. Yeah, you remember that from last year, huh?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you can make it so that the materials themselves generate foliages on top of them.
Yay!
So that you can spray paint different materials on the landscape and have those materials automatically populate the landscape with flowers and things like that. So
do all we have to do is just drag the materials onto the foliage section?
One second. You want to replace it so you can use landscape? Yeah, you can actually just delete the floor if you want. Right? You can just do that.
No.
But yeah, to me it's a little more exciting to have the landscape and the geometry sort of interact. I don't know. One thing to be careful of is if you get if you go down too far south, then you will die.
Oh right.
Undo.
You'll die because there's like a death plane, but you can also lower the death plane. So.
I don't know what I'm doing. Sculpt. Yeah, let me just show you real fast. There's a kill plane beneath the surface of the world. And so...
how come we can't make fire foliage? Why? Just why?
Because it's particle effect, girl. If you go too far south, you die.
I mean,
not by south. If you go too far down, you die. There's a kill plane in the world, and that can be set in the world settings thing here. And you can set the kill plane. The kill plane currently is set -10 meters.
How about a -100 meters?
All right, -100 meters it is. Okay, and then
Big numbers.
yeah, it's just something to be cautious of if you're doing like giant Grand Canyons and things like that. Now you can reach the bottom of the floor without
And
dying.
you can't get back out.
And you're stuck also. Yeah. So
Well, you're not stuck until you reload the goal game.
that's what I was saying. Like one of the things you need to be cautious of is getting stuck. Right? It's like when I jump down here, it's not immediately clear.
You are allowed. You also
I could actually
can
make my way back
tunnels.
out. Maybe I could.
If you're strategic about it.
Make this a little shallower here.
I want to show them how to make a tunnel. I want to show them how to make a tunnel.
How do you make a tunnel? Just tell 'em.
I want to show.
Let me see if I can get out of this. Fall down here, and yeah, barely get out. Okay, show them how to make a tunnel, girl. Nature is beautiful.
Since you already have a deep hole, I guess I'm just gonna use that.
Diggy diggy hole.
No, that's an annoying song. Where is he? Yeah. Takes time.
What are you doing?
Erosion.
Eroding it? Okay.
I'm trying to make it go deeper, but okay. How do you make it go deeper? Shift S.
What are you trying to?
I'm trying to make it sink.
You're trying to cut it out through the
It
bottom
needs to
of
be really deep. Or deep enough, at least. Okay.
Okay.
So then I need to
Go into the select tool. Alright.
Oh my gosh, I broke the world. Yay. Okay. Shift S. Moments.
Okay. Are you going to do the thing where you delete the
What do you mean?
wall to make a cave?
In Hedgehog World, I successfully made a tunnel that I cannot get out of. Yeah, this does not look good.
Yeah.
If you show them the one head truck world, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, you can make it. So landscapes are 2D surface technically, so you can't do bridges and tunnels and things like that in the landscape itself. You can kind of fake it though by like if you like select like a chunk of the world, you can like delete it. Let's see here. Like that, and then you just have a, yeah. So if you're very clever, you can like cut out part of the landscape and then put like you can put like you know, a cave inside of there, so you can chunk out part of the wall and then have geometry in there. Okay, the pit of despair is here. Yeah, that's too much despair for me. That's too much despair. I am going to just not have any despair whatsoever. I'm just going to do this real fast. Plain. No despair is allowed in this class. And it's scaled all to hell, but there you go. It is no longer the pit of despair. It is a beautiful, super ugly scaled ocean that we can't get out of. It's still the pit of despair. Let's pull that up a little bit. Jump. Yay. Okay. And that's it for today. Thanks for coming out, everyone. And so homework is make open world pinball. And then I will see you in person on Monday. AC1 114. Yep. See you guys then. Peace out. This is going to cause a problem over here. Good. It doesn't extend underneath to this side. So, absolutely perfect. Okay. And if you guys want to work homework due tomorrow, it's due on Monday. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's due on Monday. Okay. And if you guys want to work together on it, just hop over into Student Voice. I'm going to be working with the IS50B people.